Good morning. I've just heard some inspiring words from some of my favorite people. The issue that's coming up for me this week that I just want to briefly highlight, I'm taking a class called The Noble Purpose. And in the class I was able to, I'm taking another class too, I was able to think about synchronicity a little bit. And sometimes it's tough to see synchronicity in your day-to-day living. You can, as a person just before, you can see synchronicity if you put on the new pair of glasses that we just heard about. If you have the intent to see the good, you will see the good, and then you will see what is synchronistic in your life. The Course in Miracles would say miracles are natural. When you're not experiencing them in your day-to-day living, the Course in Miracles would suggest something has gone wrong. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong. It just means that you're not... The thing that's gone wrong is you have got on another pair of glasses. You've got the old pair of glasses on where all you're seeing is the facts. Once again, we are what we call truth students here. Truth students train themselves to see the good. Or I've heard it said by Edwina Gaines years ago, the good, the God, the God, the good, the good, the God, the good, the God. She uses those two words interchangeably because they really are the same thing. If you have the ability to put on that new pair of glasses, as was just stated, and train yourself to be a practitioner, which is what we all are, whether we have a diploma that says we are, but this is what we're learning in the teaching, is to practice. Practicing what? So simple. The good, the God. So, perception is our only need. That was from the Course in Miracles. It's our great need because on the world we choose to see, it's either going to be lovely and beautiful, untold beauty, or it's going to be something else. Everybody here knows what the something else looks like. Because the something else is what we're attempting to step out of. The something else is the conditioned thought that we've been entrained with since the time we're kids. We used to call them old tapes. You can't say that to this generation because I don't even know if they'd understand what you mean. There are no tapes anymore. But it's the stuff that, your life is going to be a reflection of your understanding. Okay? And Louise Hay would say there's always more you can understand. And when you go through your struggle, as we do go through struggles, and we reach a plateau and you think all is fine, then it's all very easy because you have a new understanding. And you'll operate from a different level of consciousness. Consciousness is a funny thing. If you have a consciousness of prosperity, you're going to be prosperous. You have an expectation that you will be supplied and supported, and you are. If you have a consciousness of lack and limitation, what is going to show up in your life perpetually until you learn those very lessons is going to be lack and limitation. The universe is always accepting each of us at our own level of understanding. There's no right or wrong to it. It's just the law of mind. It's the law of life. It's the law of correspondence. It's the law. So when Ernest Holmes said there's power for good in the universe and you can use it, not only can you use it, you are using it. You've always been using it. The universe is perpetually, endlessly, always saying what to all of us? Yes, yes, and yes. So I do endless groups, week after week. I did several this week. And I play with the groups because I have fun with the teaching, and I'll say, what's it like being you lately? And that gets a variety of responses, right? Because they don't know what I'm up to. I'm wanting them to talk about themselves and their own challenges. And then I can, like Louise Hay did in this beautiful book years ago, I can ask questions like, and how is that working for you? Because most of us are living within a story of one kind or another. So what we're challenged to do in this teaching is to step out of what is old and comfortable, the world of excuses and self-justification and rationalization to stay stuck into a new paradigm where we can step forward, where, you know, the very skies open up for us and the avenues in life open up for us, because they will. And they have to. The good Emerson taught us that we are seeking, is truly seeking us. Through our quiet moments where we're being inspired, we have these thoughts, you know, new thought. The thing about that is you need to act on it. How many times do you get a wild, crazy, fun idea, and you know, and we dismiss it? We'll say, it's too late, baby, now. I'm too old. I'm too young. I can't. I don't have. It's for the good, it's for somebody else. You know, would you say that to your best friend who had a new idea? You'd encourage your best friend, hopefully, if you're a good friend. When you have a new idea, how often do you dismiss it and say you can't, and you go into a story? People who are in this teaching are here to help people and support people. The reason I'm in this teaching is to grow and evolve. I know that this is not a dress rehearsal. I know this is it. And I'm here to have fun and enjoyment when? Today. In this day. And my expectation is to have fun and enjoyment tomorrow. I really get antsy when I'm listening to people tell me a bunch of what? Stories and junk. I mean, I really have no patience for it, quite honestly. I was saying to Kevin yesterday, I don't make a very good counselor, quite honestly, because I'm not a person that really wants to hear a bunch of stories. I'm thrilled, though, if you come to me with new ideas of how you want to, you know, create something, because I want to support you in doing what? Creating anything that brings you joy. Okay? It was told to me years ago, religious scientists are the applauders, the cheerleaders of life. You know, anytime you see someone making the slightest advance, I want to applaud that. If you want to come and do Ain't It Awful with me, I'd really rather you know, call a friend. You know, I know that sounds terrible, but I really don't, I'm not interested. You know, I'm not a hand holder. I don't want to do poor baby. Poor baby bores me. Okay? You know, you have all of life at your disposal. The whole freaking universe at your disposal, saying yes to you. So what kind of thinking do you want to have running inside your brain for the universe to say yes to? I used to wake up in the morning and be down on myself. I said, oh, you're a dumbass. You know, is that really very enlightened? Is that an enlightened statement? How enlightened is that? When I'm being taped, God help me. So, truthfully, you know, there's nobody nicer to be nicer to than who be nice to who? You! And my God, I'm calling myself a dumb what? What a pity, right? I mean, how enlightened is that? So, as Louise Hay so beautifully says, it's like cleaning a house. You start wherever the hell you are, with whatever the heck is going on in your mind, whatever thought you're thinking. You know, and the thing that's beautiful about Louise Hay in that book, if you're in a story right now about your husband, your job, your workplace, your life, trust me, it is a story. It is not the darn truth. The truth of you is that you're magnificent, supplied, supported in every conceivable way. Your job, when you're caught in the mix of a mess, is to think a new thought. And then beyond thinking it, begin to believe it. And step into that new paradigm where there is supply and support, because the universe will support the new idea. As it will also support, if you're stuck in a story, you'll stay there until you're moved to a different place. So Ernest Holmes, when he said there's power for good in the universe and you can use it, he wasn't kidding. The thing that's very upsetting to me and for myself, and probably for some of you, is that you find yourself in familiar places that you've been before. Haven't you wound up in a relationship where you say, oh my God, I've done this before? You're very disappointed. Or you find another area of your life, maybe around money, and it's not working. You say, oh, I've been here before. And what's with that? So, I mean, how many times do we have to be in a spot before we're going to make a change? You've heard the slogans in all the 12-step programs about the person who falls in the sidewalk, where they go out around the corner and they fall on the sidewalk. The next day they get up, they go around the corner and they fall on the sidewalk. And the third day they get up and they go around the corner and they do it again and again and again. And finally one day, after they've been bruised and bad enough, it finally dawns upon their consciousness that maybe I'm going to take a different route. So, why are we not quicker learners? Anybody have any? Why don't we learn quicker? I mean, I can tell you from all my 12-step programs, they say we have the disease of denial. What does that suggest? My God, in the face of a mountain of evidence, we still can argue for our addictions, whatever they are. You know, sex, love, money, power, alcohol, drugs, whatever it is. You know, you can have a ton of information that suggests whatever you're doing isn't working. Same thing with this. You can know that you're a negative thinker, you can see that you're repelling people, you can see that what you're doing isn't attractive, and you continue to do what? The same thing. Louise Hay teaches another thing that's very beautiful. It's a law of attraction. You know, she suggests in this beautiful book, You Can Heal Your Life, to really take a look at how your rigid patterns of thought. The part that I found instructive many years ago is where she said, just take a look at how you talk. How often you use words that are controlling, like should, must, got to, and have to. And she will say, I would think that the word should is one of the words that ought to be thrown away. She says, and furthermore, I think it's one of the most damaging words in the human English language, because wherever you're doing it, you're telling yourself that you're not okay, you're not good enough. Or if I'm telling you that you should do this, or you should do that, I'm really saying who you are and what you are is really not okay, not good enough. And then she will invite the question, she'll say, well, where does that assessment come? Where you think that you're not good enough or they're not good enough. And when you do that, you realize that you're putting yourself down, like me telling myself I'm a dumb idiot or something like that in the mirror. That's not an enlightened thing to be doing to the most important person in your world, right? And when you're doing it to the people you love, even if you don't say it, you think that they're an idiot, you know, really that's a bigger statement about who? It's a bigger statement about you, because you're there in judgment thinking that they're idiots when the person who's creating them to be an idiot is who? It's a much bigger statement about you. Okay? That's not an attractive person. See, if you have that type of a critical nature going on inside of you where you're judging yourself and everybody else, you're no joy to be around. That doesn't attract people. That repels people. And you might look great. You can be gorgeous, but it's not attractive. Attractive people are attractive because they have something inside of them that's interesting and attractive. It attracts. Judgmental, critical people, you know, create worlds of pain. Pain for the most important person in their world, which is who? Themselves. And they can go and fix themselves up in 10 different ways, and they're still going to be unattractive. You know, yeah, they'll get noticed initially when they look a certain way, perhaps, but it isn't real because it's the person. I mean, I can think of people that we've had, and you all know. That is a word that, you know, the beauty of her book is just that one practice. If you can nail it, if you can eliminate the word should and all of its synonyms, what you'll start to do is you'll start to be changing your conversation with other people, you know, and you're going to give them a break. She will suggest, I think people ought to try using the word could more often. Like I might say to Leslie, instead of saying you should do this and you should do that, which feels and sounds condemning, I can say, you might want to try it this way, Leslie, or you could try it this way. Or Kath, you might try this or you might try that. When I do that, I'm giving people lots of options and choices. I'm not telling them what to do. I'm knowing, or I may say, you could try it this way, or maybe you have a better way. So what am I doing? I'm stepping out of the role of being the dictator to you, and I'm giving you respect for you to, I am leading you a little bit, but basically, for you to make other choices, or what do you think? So, what this teaching is for me is always going to be about changing the conversation around. Because the conversation that lives inside of most of us is not a life-giving one. Or you know what, for many of us it's changed over time. So my conversation, my internal conversation, is more expansive now than what it was before. And I completely trust, because the whole universe is going forward, and there is a corrective principle at play, as Emerson so eloquently stated. The whole process of life is going forward. So who you are and what I am today, you are a wiser person than what you were even 3 months ago, or a year ago, or 2. This is what the teaching has done to you. It has made you wiser. It has allowed your thoughts to be more expansive. You're creating from a higher platform of knowingness. Are you a finished product? Not even slightly. Are you more attractive? Definitely. Every person in this room is a far more attractive person than what they were 6 months ago. Some of you might be focused on crow's feet and gray hairs and stuff like that. That's interesting, right? But the thing is, you are a more attractive person, because you're more attractive as you learn to love yourself. Everything in your life begins to what? It begins to work. And there's something about you. You remember something about Mary, there's something about Rhonda, there's something about, because you got something. You have that it factor. And that is because you're learning to love who? You. And that's attractive. As you're learning to give yourself permission with that new pair of glasses to see the beauty like Rhonda does on her balcony, that's the practice. Seeing the God, the good, the God where? Everywhere and all the time. And what happens when you don't do it? What happens when you're in a place of reactiveness? Because we all get there. Go there. Because you're in this teaching, because you're practicing this teaching, we don't stay in those places for too long, right? We get out of them a lot quicker than most people. And we have tools and ways, and if you're a part of classes, if you're plugged in. I remember talking to one young lady a long time ago, and the classes were very important to her, because it's kind of like a place where you plug into it, where you get reminded. And if you do that in combination with some books and you get plugged in, you're going to be reminded more often. So instead of going down and being on this level where we came in, you're here. You operate on a higher level all the time. Is there more we can do? Sure, there always is. Okay, this teaching is fantastic, but this is not a teaching where people are holding your hands. If you're looking for that, you really need to go someplace else. Because this is a teaching about you taking responsibility for the most important person in your life, which is you. If you got problems, let's deal with them. I love hearing about your exciting challenges. As long as you don't define yourself by that. Because if you're talking about something, then there's something we can work with. But if you have no intention of changing them and you just want to monopolize somebody's time, I'm not the one for that. No time for it. No interest. It's boring. Okay? Whatever is on your dance card in your life right now, and it almost doesn't matter what it is, it's not happening to you, it's happening for you, and there's things we can do. We can support you to move through anything. Be it a matter of health or wealth. Now, there's going to be a greater idea than the story you're spinning. And the very thing that's coming in is there for you. It's a lesson to be transcended and to bring you to a higher place. So I don't argue, and I don't support people in their stories. I have no interest in doing that. I will support anybody in the truth. And the truth is that you are truly supplied and supported in every single second, in every single way. And so it is.